Hi, this is Christina Morrison coming to you from, we are at one of the Publixes in Melbourne, and I am with Lori Hamilton, who is the Program Supervisor for Volunteers in Motion. So, Lori, thank you so much for being here. Excited to hear more about Volunteers in Motion. What can you tell us about the program?
Well, Volunteers in Motion is a service coordinated by Space Coast Area Transit, and through that program, we provide transportation for individuals that are unable to use Space Coast Area Transit's other services like the fixed route bus or the regular paratransit service.
And what type of volunteer positions do you look to help service these individuals?
Well, first, we definitely rely heavily on vehicle operators. That would be our very first volunteer position. Their duties would be helping individuals with basically transporting them from home to different facilities like medical facilities, pharmacies, grocery shopping, and places like even medical supply shops.
And do you provide any type of training for those volunteers?
Yes, we do. They go through about a 3-day training when they first come on, and we provide the state-of-the-art vehicle and gas insurance for the vehicles to include workers' compensation while the volunteer is volunteering.
So for those individuals who are in need of this service, your clients, how does one go about signing up for the program?
Well, you would call Space Coast Area Transit's, or actually our number, you would call Volunteers in Motion at 321-635-7999. And at that time, you would go through a telephone screening. We want to make sure that this specialized service is reaching the right people. If for some reason that we find after the screening that there might be a service that is better suited, we certainly would try to give you additional information so you'd be able to, kind of find a transportation that would be better for you. After that, we would register you. We would ask for information, for instance, like your name, address, phone number, just general information. And we would also like the name and addresses of the doctors that you would be asking us to help you be transported to.
So once somebody is all registered, they follow that process and they're ready for a ride. What's the process for that?
Well, we would really like around 5 to 7 days notice. It's very helpful because our volunteers are retired, and we kind of like to have a bit of a structure with our program. And by giving us a week's notice, we could either let the volunteer know that we need their service, or we can give them the week off.
So for somebody who is interested in volunteering, now watching, I'm assuming that you probably need office staff and drivers as well, but what else can you tell volunteers who are excited about joining in?
Well, the first thing, what we would love for you to have is basically caring for people and enjoy being around people. This is a position, the vehicle operator position is a position that is very gratifying on a daily basis. You really do get to see what your time providing it to someone else, how it makes a difference. And in addition to that, we also could use office staff as a volunteer position. What they would be doing is helping us with answering the telephones, paperwork, data entry, or even going out and being an escort for one of our clients who may be visually impaired and needing help in the grocery store.
So it sounds like you have options for all different types of folks and different ways to get involved. So if someone's on the fence about volunteering and getting involved in Volunteers in Motion, what would you tell them about Volunteers in Motion being the place to pick?
I would say that we are very flexible. I would say that whether you can give us 1 to 3 hours a week, a month, we can make that work and help individuals out there that would otherwise not be able to be at home independently.
Well, thank you so much, Lori, for all that you do and all that you give back. We're going to talk with some of your clients and volunteers today, so we're going to go meet them now. So now we're catching up with John Campbell, who is a volunteer with Volunteers in Motion. And John, I understand that you have a pretty involved history with the program. What can you tell us about your experience with Volunteers in Motion?
I've been connected with the program for around 13 years, and I've taken part in just about every activity that Volunteers in Motion does, including working in the office, computer work, driving, helping clients, and even a little bit of scheduling here and there.
So with so many different volunteer opportunities that are out there, you've done it all, but what would you say drew you to Volunteers in Motion? Why did you pick this organization?
Well, it's a well-run program. It's professionally managed, and everything you need to do the job is provided for you. Well-maintained vans, paperwork, and you even have a cell phone to use while you're working.
So you're very well supported. For those who are maybe interested in volunteering and maybe they're on the fence, they're just wondering about it, what would you tell somebody who maybe wants to but hasn't jumped out and done it yet?
Well, I would tell them get off the fence and make a decision and help with Volunteers in Motion while volunteer opportunities still exist. There are lots of things you can do for the program, working in the office, driving vans, lots of things. Just call and ask.
Well, John, thank you so much for all that you do. Next up, we're going to go interview Miss Helen, one of the clients that you work with, and thank you for everything. Okay. So now we're with Helen Melilo, and she is one of Volunteers in Motion's clients, and I know you've been a client for a long time. Miss Helen, what can you tell us about the program and why you choose to use Volunteers in Motion?
Well, I don't drive. I'm 91 years old, and I need a way to get to the stores, to the doctors, dentists, so forth and so on.
How long have you been using Volunteers in Motion?
I've been using it for 2 years now, since I moved to Merritt Island. When I lived elsewhere, I had bus service, but right now I would have to walk 4 or 5 miles to get to a bus.
This is very helpful. What else would you do if Volunteers in Motion wasn't around to help you? What would your options be?
Stay home or use Uber or taxis, something like that. And it's not something I'd like to do because I know the volunteers with Volunteers in Motion are well vetted and you can always depend on them.
Well, Ms. Helen, we will let you get back to your shopping and your experience here, but thank you so much for taking the time, and we hope you have a wonderful day here. So, Lori, we just heard from John and Helen about how important this program is to them. I know you touched on it earlier, but once again, if somebody is looking to volunteer, how can they do that? And also, if maybe somebody is interested in becoming a client using this service, maybe for themselves or maybe for an aging parent or loved one, how does everybody get involved in this?
Okay, great. Actually, if you're interested in volunteering, you would call Volunteers in Motion at 321-635-7999. We would invite you on a ride-along, and afterwards, if you were interested in going forward, we would do a background check, and we would also check references. We require a drug screening, and also we do require a Florida driver's license, and we would, of course, prefer a clean record. In addition to that, if there is someone that would like to register, then again, they would call our number, 321-635-7999, and we would screen them, and then at that time, if they qualified, we would register them, and they could start utilizing our service immediately.
Well, Lori, thank you again for all you do in arranging all the volunteers and providing this very much needed service. Once again, I'm Christina Morrison. This has been Transit Talk about Volunteers in Motion. If you want to know more information about this program, you can reach out to Lori at the phone number and visit 321transit.com. Thanks for watching.